Hello everybody and welcome to my chapter 302 review of My Hero Academia. This chapter is titled The Wrong Way to Put Out a Fire Part 2, like the last chapter, number 301, was Part 1. So, this chapter starts off with more backstory on Toya. With Endeavor walking into a room with Rei and Shoto, saying that that they're now keeping Shoto away from the other kids, for Rei to keep her eyes on Toya. And what he says is, all I can show anyone is the world of heroes. And then Rei looks over him and says, heroes? Aren't you just running away? And then we do a sort of 5-year skip ahead to where Toya is 13 years old, Fuyumi is 12 years old, Natsu is 8 years old, and Shoto is 5 years old. And Fuyumi and Natsu come on to get Toya to play a game. Toya's working on probably some school something on his computer. And then you see them playing a game outside, playing a little ball game, and then Endeavor's pulling Shoto along by the arm on that little walk ahead, or above where they are, on the second floor of his house. And Shoto's like, just this one time, please let me play a toy in them. And then Shoto's like, no, it's time to train your capacity, your output capacity. And then we see Toya sort of just look up at Endeavor and them as they walk by. And then we go to where I guess Natsu and Toya, I guess they share a room, which makes sense. And Toya's going on like, that one time was my fault. Little Shoto didn't do anything wrong, but it's Dad's to blame too. Won't even pay attention to us because we're failed creations? Crazy, right? Is that what modern heroes are all about, making all these kids they don't even need? And then Natsu turns over and he's like, hey, why don't you bug Sis about this stuff once in a while? And Toya's just like, you're telling me to buzz off, Natsu? You're the one that understands that. You agree, right? The women in this house are good for nothing, which I guess that's sort of just Toya's outlook on life. It's a wrong one, but who knows? And then we see Toya's going out somewhere, and then Rei is trying to stop him, being like, Toya, you're about to go off to that mountain again, aren't you? Well, you don't need to. How about you go make some friends at school? And Toya's like, I don't need friends. We live in different worlds. And Rei goes, Toya, do you even want to be a hero? As your mother, it looks to me like you're suffocating because who your father is and you're suffering for it. Toya, there are so many paths available. Countless options for you. Try looking beyond your father. See what else is out there. If you do that, I'm sure you'll find a man you want to become. And then Toya just turns around and says, what the hell do you know, Mom? Where'd you get that tidbit? Some self-help book? I know about Grandma and them being real poor, so they just sell you off. You had no choice. That's why I was born, right? Well, you're guilty too, Mom. And we just see Toya's eyes are just like bloodshot. Like you're just, it's a greatly drawn panel. And then we see Rei just go like, Toya. And then I guess we cut ahead this winter. Toya's still 13. And he says, and then it sort of says, the fire won't go out. And then you see some lines pretty much just saying stuff about him. Toya was always small because he came out of the oven a little early, but at long last, he had a growth spurt. Along with those physical changes, his fire changed from red to blue. Right, and this chapter, I like this chapter a lot because it has a lot of interesting panel layouts, as long as being a good chapter. This is one of my favorite chapters in a while that I've read. And you see Toya's like, it's just another process, my flames. Whenever I get riled up, my flames are hotter. And he's like, pretty awesome if I do say myself. Man, Dad's gonna be so shocked whenever I show him. But he's like, but dang, when I get worked up, I don't know why, but I start crying. And Toya goes and confronts Inji, being like, hey, listen, Dad, next time you got a day off, you should come up to the mountain with me. And then Inji realizes, you've got new burns. You've been up trying to train yourself again. You can't be doing this. And then Toya's like, but I've done this really cool thing. I think you'd like to enjoy it as a father, right? And then he's like, I might be as awesome as Shoto sooner or later. Maybe I'll even be better than All Might someday. Then you've got to give me some respect, Dad. You'll be glad you created me. I just know it. And then you go over to you cut over to Inji walking into a room with Ray and Shoto in it, and Inji's yelling at Ray, being like, why don't you stop him, huh, Ray? Damn it, it's all I asked you to do. And then Shoto comes and he's like, don't bully Mommy. Stop, don't be mean to her. And then you see a panel, and probably Fumi and Natsu are probably in a room beside it or a room close to it, and they're just like close together, like huddled together, like crying because they're hearing all of this, right? And then Ray looks and says, I can't stop him. Yes, my options were limited, but I made a choice, and I walked that path my own accord. I'd hope, if nothing else, that you would keep smiling, yet I can't stop him. And then we sort of, this is my favorite 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 panels, and our own page is on page 11, and I think it's brilliantly put out. It pretty much goes from flashbacks from the future to when Toya was young, and I'm going to read Toya's part first, and he's like, quit crying already, stupid tears, damn it, Dad. And so this is part of the hospital with current Ray and current Inji, and Ray's like, and you didn't go after him. And then Inji says, I thought I'd only be throwing fuel on his fire. No, that's not it. The truth is, I had no idea what to say to him. And you cut over to Ray again, and she says, neither did I. And then you see Toya's back in the woods, and he just has caught a blaze, and he's just burning up, and he's like, the flames can't stop them. And then you cut over to the current Dobby, as they're called, and he's like, man, that was hot. Well, that's just dessert. And then we go back to the older Toya, since he's now Dobby. I know, this is confusing. I'm sorry. And then he says, all he ever taught me was how to turn up the heat. And you just see like a mountain on fire, presumably this mountain where he's been going to train. What mountain was it? It's right up here. Sokoto Peak. And then Endeavor says, if I'd given it all up that day, but having killed Toya, I felt there was no turning back, so I poured all of my energy into Shoto at the expense of everything else. Once Toya was gone, you grew worse, or this is Fumi talking now. Once Toya was gone, you grew worse and worse until I couldn't stand the sight of you. I got it so bad, I even started seeing a hint of you in the children's faces. I knew our family was broken, but I was too scared to interfere. All I could do was try to fix things up, was to keep up appearances. And then Natsu says, it was you who started all of this, you're the root cause, but maybe I've just lugged you in the face and made you have a serious talk with him. Dobby would have never come about, and I would have been enjoying some good sob with Shoto all these years. And yeah, this is a very dialogue-heavy end of the chapter. And so Ray's pretty much like, we have to take responsibility for what comes next. Your heart may be broken, but we'll get you out of here back on your feet. You've no choice but to fight Dobby, and Endeavor's like, "Are you really the woman I married?" Which I find interesting. And then she's like, "One of our children, one who suffered much more than us, well, despite having every right to resent me, he started calling me Mom again." And she's talking about Shoto, and he's like, "He's been making friends at UA, and he's now the one saving us. Shoto is our family's hero." And then Shoto, with his voice box all still half burned up, he's like, "I talked with Mom before we came to see you. I thought this couldn't be your bout of fight, and I was the only one who could do it, but I'm wrong. Once you're done grieving, stand back up, because we all have to go and stop Toya." And here Shoto's just reaching his arm out to him, and then we see Hawks and Best Jeanist standing outside the room. So, this chapter 302, this is one of my favorite chapters I think I've ever read. I really enjoyed this one. I really like this chapter. It's interesting how the panels were laid out here, and it sort of shows like an older Toya trying to deal with things, and how he allegedly died up in the woods. And yes, next chapter I don't think will be any more of this Endeavor Redemption arc. I think next chapter maybe, because we pretty much cleared everything with Hawks in chapter 299. Chapter 300, and these past 3 chapters have all been the Endeavor Redemption arcs chapters. So now, I don't know where this is going to go. If it's going to go back to Deku, Izuku, Bakugo, and our members of Class 1A, or what's going to happen. But next chapter will be a different pace. It won't be this Endeavor Redemption arc stuff, but still, I think this was a very good chapter. And if you liked the video, please comment, like, and subscribe. But that's only if you liked it. If you didn't like it, dislike it. You're not going to be one of my favorite people that day I see that, but still it'll show me if I think I'm doing something right. And also comment down in the description if you think anything was interesting about this chapter. But thank you for watching, and I'll see you sometime in the future with chapter 303. Glowplasma 231.